South Africa could look like. And in the end, the Dakar workshop of 1987 was indicative of the significant role that political dialogue played in South Africa's transition towards democracy. Honored guest, today's workshop forms part of the Department of International Relations and Cooperation's continued efforts to institutionalize South Africa's contribution to international peace-building processes. These processes range from conflict resolution, peacemaking, peacekeeping to post-conflict reconstruction and development. To this end, the department, through its mediation support unit and the International School of the Diplomatic Academy of DIRCO, makes its contributions in three main areas. Firstly, DIRCO facilitate capacity building programs. Previous such programs have provided opportunities for South African and senior African women, diplomats and youth to be exposed to high-level international capacity building. A major consequence of these programs is that South African women and representatives from student representative committees could use their newly acquired knowledge and skills in conflict resolution, negotiations and mediation in their communities. It also brought women and youth peacemakers together to share their experience and to network. More about that later. Since 2014, when the capacity building programs were open to also include South African women leaders, more than 120 senior women have graduated through the programs on conflict resolution, negotiation and mediation. What's more, we have also launched the Gertrude Shorpe Annual Dialogue Forum on Conflict Resolution and Peacemaking. Since 2015, the department has furthermore hosted annual youth programs on conflict resolution, negotiation and mediation. And as you would know, one of the key strategic priorities of the South African government is skills development. These programs were in line with the objectives of the National Youth Policy 2014-2019, which aims to strengthen the capacity of young people, enabling them to take charge of their own well-being. South Africa's commitment to the youth is also in line with the historic United Nations Security Council Resolution 2250 on youth, peace and security, adopted on 9 December 2015. Which for the first time in its history focuses entirely on the role of young men and women in peace building and countering violent extremism.
On this occasion of commemoration of the 30th anniversary of the historic Dakar Conference, which took place in 1987. This conference is firmly engraved in the annals of our history. It represents a day when citizens who were concerned with the future direction of our country took the initiative to recognize the centrality of the then banned and exiled African National Congress in determining a post-apartheid South Africa. Significantly, the 30th anniversary celebrations of this Dakar Conference take place during the year of Oliver Tambo, our struggle stalwart and the longest serving president of the African National Congress, who would have been 100 years old this year. Oliver Tambo's legacy is celebrated as he was South Africa's chief diplomat in exile. O.R. Tambo laid the foundation of our foreign policy and was passionate about our solidarity with the oppressed masses. Indeed, before this significant moment in history, it was none other than our chief diplomat in exile, Oliver Tambo, who was the president of the ANC, who have been driving the message that dialogue and peaceful engagement, not war, with their adversaries is the most sustainable means to achieve franchise for the oppressed. This message has always been a clarion call of his forebearers, who understood that parties in conflict must at some point come to the table and resolve their problems through dialogue, not through armed conflict. Indeed, it was an acknowledgement of this commitment to peaceful transition through dialogue that Chief Albert Luthuli was honored with the Nobel Peace Prize in Oslo on the 10th December 1961. Ladies and gentlemen, what stands out about this historic moment is that these Afrikaner intellectuals, professionals, religious leaders, students, and other civil society figureheads were themselves beneficiaries of the apartheid system. The time had come for them to recognize the ANC as a legitimate voice of the people, which stood for dialogue as means of achieving democracy, peace, justice, and reconciliation for all South Africans. Oliver Tambo understood that the Dakar talks were an outstanding moment which breaks with the past in the history of the struggle against apartheid. That is why he described Professor Van Zyl Slabbert, the leader of the Afrikaner delegation, who was also a former leader of Progressive Federal Party, as a new voortrekker. Tambo went on to say that to get out of Progressive Federal Party and join such an extra parliamentary forces of change was a correct move. And he called on the rest of the members of the PFP to leave Parliament to work for a real change. Such talks would not have been possible were it not for the unloosening of the process of conduct with ANC initiated by those key individuals and organizations. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you will agree with me that there can be no better testimony for the value of constructive political dialogue than that which the example of the Dakar talks of 1987 provides us with.